about this. COVID delays. A lot of you have been having questions about COVID-19. How is it going to affect my credit? How does it affect the score? How does it affect the process? So it's not going to really affect the score, but it will kind of slow down the process a little bit. Shenequwa, you want to talk about that?
Yes, because typically any other time is 30 to 45 days. Where now they have added 15 more days to that. So, because people are working, everyone is not working fully staffed. So, things have kind of slowed down just a little bit. So usually that 45-day wait is now a 60-day wait. But,
60 days for them to mail it. It's still a lot faster because we utilize the identity IQ, which is something else that we definitely need to talk about, that identity IQ. But yes, as long as you're keeping your identity IQ, then the delay is only an extra 15 days. If you don't keep it, it's an extra 60 days. And there's no need to extend the time that you are in the program or getting help with your credit for an additional 90 days when you think about it. Identity IQ, Shenequwa, cover that real quick, just like how vital that is.
So identity IQ keeps us up to date to let us know what the credit bureaus how they responded to our letters that we send out. If you don't have identity IQ, they're sending that in the mail, which is the delay. So it is extremely important while you're in the program to keep your identity IQ. It is $21.99 a month. If you are not able to, we need to talk. We need to really talk about that before you cancel the services and see how we can help you in that department. I just want to stop right quick. I have on my girl, no permission needed. Kingdom t-shirt, Ashanti Odom. If you don't have it, go get it. Yeah, that was just a little commercial right there.
But I appreciate that. No permission needed in these streets.
Right.
We're
kingdom. But seriously, guys, identity IQ is very vital to the process. It helps us continue to expedite your dispute letters, stay on top of what's been deleted and what's our next step. So if you cancel it, please get with us before you do. That way we can kind of work something out. Definitely. Now I know, Ashanti, student loans.
Yeah.
A lot of people have questions about, can you delete student loans? Have y'all deleted student loans? Can we delete them?
We definitely can delete the student loans, but guys, here's the thing too. Just because they're deleted off of your credit report does not mean that they're being deleted out of the federal system. So we help with that. It's another arm of our program, which is completely different. But one of the things that will assist, like when you take out a student loan and you have like 20 different loans, one for $2,000, one for $4,000, one for $6,000, one for $8,000, and then it ends up totaling like anywhere from $30,000 to $100,000 worth of student loan debt. What's happening is the way that it is reporting on your credit is causing a major deficit in your credit score. And so instead of having so many negative accounts, because you have to remember, we talked about the breakdown, 35% payment history, right? 15% length of history, 10% types of credit, 10% new credit. And so if you have all of these lines of loans that are being reported, those are all actually impacting your score. So there are ways for you to go through a consolidation, not a debt consolidation. That's completely different, okay? I don't want you to confuse the two. But there is a way that you can go through a consolidation. Of course, Navient is one, but lately Navient has been doing some things that, you may want to look at other opportunities or resources, and we have that. And so what will happen is you'll have a company that will come in and they'll purchase all of these many lines of credit, all these many lines of student loans that you have. You get one lump sum, and guess what? It looks better on your credit profile because instead of you having so many accounts that are going against the grain of your credit score, you just have one. Now, granted, it is a lump sum, so there still is some deficit there, but it's not as serious as you having so many reported. And guess what else happens? when they purchase all of those loans, when they purchase all of those loans, it actually eradicates the history of everything, because it's like we're deleting it anyway. And so once they purchase that new loan, it's like a very new student loan. It's like you're starting brand new. So all of the history of being 120 days late or 380 days late or whatever, all of that goes away. So if you have student loans and you need for us to assist you with the transition, also, if they are taking your checks, your income tax checks, you need to inbox us or text us or reach out and call us so we can assist you with that, because we can help you save that $3,000 to $7,000, and that way you keep your income tax check. Now, one good thing about COVID, y'all, is that all of the money that they took, they give it back. So if you haven't got your student loan check that was taken from your taxes, it's on the way, and I'm pretty sure you probably have already received it. But one great thing, that's the only good thing I would say that COVID it's giving people an opportunity to be someone in a better restoration concerning their finances when it comes to things that were old back in the day. So yeah, with COVID, now they are not taking that. But when all of this is over, you want to make sure that when they lift all of the benefits that they've been giving us, that now all of those student loan lines that are being reported, you condense it, you consolidate it, and then now you just have one. So yeah, Shenequwa, that's how that works.
That's how you leverage COVID, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Take advantage of the situation and help it use it towards your student loans. Because even I think I read somewhere where student loans right now, they're forgiving them. They're like, even not just the ones that's years old, but even right now. Also, trade lines. We get a lot of questions about trade lines. Do we offer trade lines? What are trade lines? And how it works. So trade lines are something that is accounts that you can purchase as an authorized user. Why are you making that face, Ashanti?
You didn't see that like beam of light that was going up behind me?
No.
You know what they said? It's like a presence of the angels. You didn't see it?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay. Never mind. Go ahead.
Well, since you got the angels around, go ahead and talk about trade lines.
Okay. So how do trade lines work? Not only will trade lines boost your credit score. So we have a client right now. She was only like 3 points away from getting approved for a major loan, like I don't know, like $250,000 or something like that. She was able to add that trade line, and that, of course, pushed her way over, because anytime you add trade lines, it's going to boost your score anywhere from 40 points to 300 points. It just depends on the length of history, the type of trade line, and all of that. But it actually does help you get approved for what it is that you want. And guess what else it does, guys? It eats up the utilization. So for some of you that are maxing out your secured credit cards and maxing out those lines of credit, you need help with that 30%. Like, you need something to eat that up. And so that's what trade lines do that. It's kind of like, what's a good way to explain it? It's kind of like providing an extra cushion threshold for you to be able to get your life all the way back together. And so what trade lines do is like, if a lender looks at your credit and they say, hey, you're 300% maxed out on all your cards. Well, let's say you add some trade lines, right? And so then that 300% now comes 20%. And so you are now in a position to where you look good financially on paper. So trade lines do a number of things. It increases the lending capacity. So like, everybody has their own lending capacity. So what that means is whatever your credit score is, whatever your payment history is, whatever your length of history is, and whatever kind of income that's being reported on your social security number, right? It actually will tell you have a lending capacity of 150,000 or 1.2 million. Everybody has different lending capacities based on so many different elements. And so adding those trade lines will actually increase your lending capacity. What do I mean? Okay. So like, let's say if you wanted a Maserati, but your lending capacity in the auto world is like 25,000. Like you can just get a Honda. If you add some trade lines, that'll actually open up the door for you now to be able to get approved for a $100,000 vehicle. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm not even suggesting you do it. Really, I don't even think that would be smart, not right now. But I'm telling you, it's possible. It's definitely possible.
Right. So now, trade lines. So there are different types of trade lines, right? There are ones that you can have as an authorized users, that you are put on somebody else's and you use to boost your credit score.
Right.
Also, there are trade lines that are in your name. We call them primaries.
Correct.
So we have relationships with a couple lenders, and we have suggested, based off of our own personal experience and experience of other clients,
Correct,
that these two lenders that we use really help boost your credit score. And it's quick, right? Within the next month. My Jury Club and Credit Builder are two lenders that you are already pre-approved, and they give you a line of credit of 5,000. Can you go into details, Ashanti, about the Credit Builder card? Because we get a lot of questions on how that works.
Yeah, so the Credit Builder card, that one is actually the secure credit card. You put $200, and guess what, guys? Nobody is ever denied. No, I take that back. We had a client that was a ghost in the system. Like, I don't know what he had going on, but he was like,
oh yeah,
he was like a real life ghost. And they were like, the federal government was like, hey, look, sir, you're not even legit. And the sad part was, like, he really was. But outside of that, because we keep it transparent, they will not deny you. It doesn't matter if your credit score is a 385. They will not deny you. You secure the Credit Builder card with your own money. Of course, on that first the first bill, it's going to include like a small fee. You just want to make sure you pay that. That's just the activation fee. And make sure you pay it 3 to 5 days before it's due, because guess what, guys? The whole goal of this entire group is to help you reach the 700 and beyond club, and then be able to really purchase whatever you want. Like, here's the thing with having a 700 or 800 credit score. You now have negotiating power that you didn't have previously. You now can go into the bank and say, hey, I need a $200,000 loan, or I can go to the car dealership and get a 0% interest rate and put no money down. Or lately, we've had a couple of clients who have been going to go lease apartments, and they haven't had to put any type of deposit, which is absolutely amazing because they had never experienced that before. So you want to make sure that with that secure credit card, you pay it before it's due, 3 to 5 days before it's due. The My Jewelers Club, they're going to give you $5,000 in unsecured credit. So we also get a lot of questions about that, Shenequwa, because most people are like, the jewelry sucks. And it does, okay? It's not cute jewelry. It's really not. I'm not even going to lie to you, but you're missing the point. Like, here's the thing, and this is how you see the end from the beginning. If you pay $100 for junk jewelry, right, you're going to receive unsecured $5,000 in credit. What that says to a lender that's looking at your credit, it says that we can trust you to lend you money, whether it's for a home, whether it's for a vehicle, whether it's for a line of credit. We can trust you because you make your payments on time. So don't look at the website and be like, I would never wear any of this jewelry or these watches or necklaces or whatever, because it's bigger than that. You have to look at it like, if I buy this piece of jewelry, the reward is I'm going to receive $5,000 of unsecured credit that's going to be reported the very next month. That's going to help boost my score an additional 40 to 60 points. And so when you guys are getting these My Jewelers Club accounts in the new Coast Direct, you want to make sure that you order something like once every 3 to 6 months, because if that account closes, then it'll drop your score 15%. Okay. So that means that for the benefit of them saying that this person has a credit limit of 5,000, the only thing that we need for you to do is basically invest $100 in some jewelry or a watch or whatever. Now, the same thing goes for New Coast Direct. If you do New Coast Direct and if you do My Jewelers Club together, that's $10,000 in unsecured credit. So what did we just do? we boosted your score, right? An additional 40 to 100 points. We also increased your lending capacity, okay? Because again, what did I tell you? Your credit report, it's like your personal resume, but from a financial standpoint. Because when lenders are looking at your credit report, they're looking to see, do you pay your bills on time? They're looking to see, who else has given you credit. They're looking to see how many times you have gotten an account, you didn't pay it, and it went to collections. And then just so that you guys know, for those of you that are job searching, they're looking at that too, because that ultimately is it ultimately is kind of like a description of your character per se, okay? Because I'm not in agreement with it, but that's what they're using. They're using your credit to determine your character. So the more positive credit that we provide for you, the better you are in a better position. And so that's why a lot of people will say, you guys deleted all of this stuff if my credit score only went up so far. Well, remember, there's different elements, right? You have to remove all negative, but you still got to add positive, okay? So, and you got to think about it like that, because what we basically did was we removed the history of all bad activity. We removed that. But if all you had was bad activity, then, and you have no good activity, like you have no accounts that you paid on time, you have no accounts that you've had for a long period of time that you've paid on time, then just because we remove all the negative stuff doesn't mean that you're going to go from a 400 to a 700. So what's happening is when you see these clients that are going from a 400 to a 700, it's because there is a combination of both, right? When you make a cake, it takes the perfect recipe, and it's the same thing with credit, the same exact thing.
You just stopped.
Oh, because you said like you was about to add on.
Yeah, I was in agreement with you, because a lot of people do believe once we delete everything, that, oh, my credit score is going to jump up. But if you don't have the revolving credit, especially if you haven't had it before you came to us, so now we have to help you rebuild that credit. So guys, that's what we want you to understand, that when we're telling you to go ahead to apply for the My Jury account, it's not to get the jury, it's to get the credit. And if the credit, and even with the credit builder cards, I have clients that get two, not just one, they get two of them. They make that sacrifice because they need their credit to build faster. So that helps with building your credit. Ashanti, do we have any questions?
Oh, let me see. I don't building your credit. Sorry.
So it's a two-phase process when doing credit, when you are in the process. Phase one is deletion. Phase two is rebuilding. And we kind of merge the rebuilding depending on where you are in the process. We'll say, hey, go ahead and apply for this and this and this, because we know what your goals are in the end. We got a question?
Oh, let me just read the comments. Beverly Joseph said her score just jumped 45 points.
Whoop, whoop.
Congratulations.
We need to bring her on. Talk about her testimony.
Jeffrey said, hey, ladies. Vanessa said, hey, Vanessa.
Hey, Vanessa.
Okay. Apostle Cook said, I kept the lowest balance on one of the loans because of the age and healthy pay history. Yep, that was good. The federal loan servicing companies have stopped servicing. What's your suggestion for loan forgiveness? We have some companies, and so I'll send those over. I'll send those over to you because it is a process. So I'll make sure we get those over to you. Kayla said, yo, and of course, Carmen's on the line. What's up, Carmen?
What's up, everybody?
Yes, hey, everybody. So the update specialist, how does that work?
So every 30 days, once you're in the program, every 30 days, 30 to 45 days, we have an update specialist that will call you, give you updates on what's been deleted, walk you through the process of what has already taken place and what's to come. So what's the next step and what's next to expect. So answer the phone calls, guys. She's calling you guys. So when you're calling us, we're saying, hey, our team is calling you.
Right.
Because you're not going to always be able to get to Ashanti and I. So that's why we put in a team that we trust, that, you know, that you guys will be able to trust. And they're just calling to give you updates on where you are in the program and the exciting news of how many deletions and how many how many points your score has increased.
Correct. Now, I'm glad you said that. The update specialist, she's almost like a counselor, because not only is she going to give you what's been deleted, where your scores are, she's also going to go over things that you can do to actually boost your score for the next 30 to 45 days. And she's also going to tell you, if you've been shopping for a car, we have a 3-strike minimum, which means we will fire you as a client. Like, it is no joke. And I'm gonna tell you guys why that is. Because we honestly, like, we get so much joy out of watching the changes that are being done in your credit. And so if you're working against us, then you're kind of, you know, you're messing up the track record. And so when she calls you, she's gonna go over and she's gonna say, hey, we see that you've got 10 new inquiries or 20 new inquiries for a credit card or the small business loan, or you might be shopping for a house. I don't know. But while you're in the program, please be reminded that we do not want you doing that. And we do have a 3-strike program. Like, if you do it for 3 consecutive months, we will discontinue the services. And if we charge you that month, we will refund you your money, because at the end of the day, we don't need to work against the grain. Now, what you do outside, like after you've graduated from the Queens of Credit program and you've gone on, that's fine. But while you're in the program, like, we want to be held accountable to each other. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, we want to make sure that we get you exactly what you came to us for, because I think the worst feeling in the world is being with a company or an organization that can truly help you reach those goals, those credit goals, those home buying goals, the car buying goal, like being with the company that can truly help you reach that. But because you're not disciplined to see it through, it delays the process. And so we want you to get to the end goal just as quickly as you want to, and just as quickly as whoever may have referred you. So just be reminded that when our update specialist calls you, she'll probably leave a message. So hopefully, like, you check your messages. But she's calling to update you on your new scores, on what's been deleted, and also on things that you can do. And remember, for those of you that forgot what we talked about, while we're deleting this stuff, these collection agencies, they're like, they mad. They have been acting real ratchet, okay? Like, real ratchet. So remember, don't have your first and last name on your voicemail. If you do, say the office of, because they cannot use a place of employment. Okay, y'all following me, reading between the lines? You picking up what I'm saying? Okay. They cannot use a place of employment to verify you. They can't do that. So if you say you've reached the office of Ashanti Odom, they can't use that, okay? The second thing is if they call you, don't answer. Like, you shouldn't answer numbers you don't know anyway, especially while you're in a credit repair program. I have seen it done where there were 2 clients, they were married, and they had an account that was deleted. The debt collection agencies called both of the husband and wife. Husband answered. Just simply, they just said, is this Tom, Tom Peterson? And he's like, yeah. And as soon as he realized, he hung up the phone. It didn't matter because he verified his name. They put that account that was deleted back on his credit. They called the wife. They were like, hey, is this Sally Davis? And she's like, click.
We smart.
Right. So they didn't put it, on her credit. They just put it back on his credit. So make sure that your voicemail either just has your phone number or the office of. The second thing is you're not answering phone calls that you don't know the number, because they are slick. Like, whatever area code you're in, I used to do collections, and that's how I know so much about it. I used to be on the other side of the road, okay? And I would call people with my cell phone, and I'd be like, hey, we're calling you to collect on this Bank of America credit card balance. And they'd be like, who is this? I just want to remind you that this is an attempt to collect a debt, and any information obtained will be used for that purpose. So you have to remember that they are getting very, very, very strategic, okay? The other thing is they will send you something in the mail. They will mail you something and say, hey, well, we heard that you want to delete this account. We're willing to do a 75% discount. And all we need to know before we agree to delete this account, that you're the one asking, please send in a copy of your ID and a copy of a bill. If you do that, you just re-verified that debt, and they're gonna go ahead, what we deleted, they're gonna put it right back on your credit. And so that goes into that rebirthing accounts. You know how when people say, oh, that account was 10 years old, it's because there's a recycling that's going on. And debt collection is big business. It's $1 trillion industry, because all they're doing is they can go into AT&T or Bank of America or American Express, Capital One, whoever. They can go into these companies and say, hey, we want to purchase $2 million worth of debt for $250,000. And guess what the companies say? Well, we haven't been able to collect on them anyway. Sure, we would rather get something than nothing. They treat that account, even though they paid pennies on a dollar for $2 million worth of debt, they treat it like it is totally, the total amount. So you may owe $5,000 and they only paid 50 cents on it. Like, this is real. Like, I'm trying to tell y'all the game. So like, they will call you and literally they may have bought your debt for 50 cents, right? But they're going to call you and say, not only do you have to pay the $5,000, now you have to pay $200 for interest and fees, and you're going to have to pay $300 if we have to take this to court. So you want to be very mindful about how you were carrying on while you're in the credit repair program. Lawsuits, we need to address that.
Yes.
You want to start and I finish on that?
Yeah, so you go ahead since you're talking.
Y'all see how she do. So lawsuits. Now, when you are anytime you do not make a payment on an account that you legitimately owe, period. Do they have the right to sue you? Yes, they do. However, depending on if they went about it the right way, if they reported 2 different dates, if there's so many different loopholes that they would have to jump through. People who are great at pursuing lawsuits, Capital One, Cons, and Midland Bank. Now, here's the thing with that. Typically, if it's an account that's under 3,000, they'll just a lot of times they'll just charge that off. A lot of times. But if that account is over 3,000, like COVID is happening, and these debt collection companies, they got time. You know what I'm saying? And they're just like people are trying to create money in the middle of the epidemic. They are too. They're no different. And so just because you get it deleted off of your credit report does not mean, if that amount is at their lawsuit worthy threshold, that they will not sue you. So if that happens, we do have attorneys that are on, that are a part of Queens of Credit that we can refer you out to that will assist you. However, there are some mediators that are a lot cheaper than going through a regular attorney, and they may only charge you $100 or $150. So if you get a lawsuit, and I don't mean a lawsuit that where it's like they're threatening, because they use that all the time. I mean an actual lawsuit where it says your name versus, okay, like defendant and plaintiff kind of thing. If you have a legitimate lawsuit, then you need to call us so we can walk you through on how to make sure that it is handled effectively to where the lawsuit does not happen, but yet the debt collection company or that attorney that is representing them, they also leave happy. So everybody is happy. So I just want to make sure that I remind you guys that just because you go through a credit repair program, and it's the same thing with your student loan debt, just because it's deleted off of your report does not mean it's deleted out of the system, the federal system, okay? That's so important for you to, it's so important for you to understand. What is the benefit then of credit repair? Glad you asked. The benefit is if you get your credit score to a 700 or 800, let's say that they do sue you, right? Let's just say they do. Hopefully they don't. We pray they don't. But let's just say they are attempting to sue you. You owe $5,000 and they want to sue you for that $5,000. But you reach out to them and they offer grace and they say, you know what? We don't want to go to court because it's going to cost more. It's going to cost court fees. It's going to cost all that, you know, COVID, blah, 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 whatever. What can you pay? $3,000. Well, guess what? Your credit score is above 700. You can go in the bank and borrow 10,000 or borrow the 4,000. And then instead of you having to make the payments that they would have asked you to make of maybe $500 for 6 months, then you could pay like 100 or let's just say if you have a good interest rate, you can go get a $10,000 loan and your payment may be like $75 to $100 a month, okay? So that's the benefit of using your credit. So it goes back into understanding how to really leverage your credit. And so if you think about it, is it worth it to get your credit score to the 700 to 800s? Absolutely. Because you don't know, like if you, like let's just say you had these credit cards, you maxed them out and you took it to the $8,000, $10,000 level and you have no intention of paying them back. And that's fine. That's your business. Like, we're not here to judge you. But what you may need in the long run is access to resources that will allow you to be able to make sure that nothing is taken from you that belongs to you. And I hope that I'm making a lot of sense here. So we're not saying just because we're deleting it from your credit report that you may or may not get sued, because I'm telling you now, and typically when we're doing our consultations, and if you've shared with me that you owe Cons or Midland or all of these other companies, Capital One or American Express, and you owe them 20 or 30,000, I tell you up front, hey, listen, we can clean it off. We can get that taken care of, but there is a possibility that they may sue you, you know, in the long run. It may not happen this year. It may happen 2 years from now, who knows? But eventually, because right now the world is in a state of crisis, lawsuits seem to be the best way to force people who have owed companies 7 years ago. All of a sudden now they're looking for the opportunity to get their money back. So what I'm telling you is there a light at the end of the tunnel? Yes. That means that use your credit to create a financial threshold, so no matter what comes, you'll be prepared. And then at the end of the day, if you do owe a company $10,000 or $20,000 and they come after you for their money, then you're always going to be in a position, a better position, if you operate from a mediator standpoint. Don't just ignore it. Like, just because you ignore the lawsuit don't mean that it's gonna go away. Don't panic, don't stress, you know, don't lose your mind, don't do any of that, okay? But if you address it, and we're able to give you those resources to help you, like seriously, like no joke, no lie, no cap, as my kids would say, no cap, okay? No cap, we can help you be able to overcome that, because I'm telling you now, and this is me being transparent with you, as advisors, as consultants, this is something that we've had to help clients in the past do. It just means that you have to make sure that, like, let's say you don't go through credit repair and you owed American Express 20K, they come after you. And I've seen this happen before, where they froze this young lady's account. They took all of her money out. Her and her husband, young couple, they had never even thought about credit repair. Never had even thought about it. The only reason she came to me was because she had owed American Express. She didn't pay them. And they was like, they're coming to get their money. And they did. They froze her account. And the only reason they got her account information was because that was the same account she used to make her payments on years prior. So the plan of action was, we got her credit score up, so that way she was able to get the money she needed to be able to cover the fees, the court fees, and then eventually they ended up giving her like a kosher deal where it was like they waived like 80% of the debt. But it was about having a plan of action in place. And that's what I want you guys to understand, is that credit repair is not an end all, answer all. That's not what this is. But it is an opportunity for you to be able to have a better life. It's an opportunity for you to provide a better life to the legacy, whether it's your kids or somebody else's kids. Who knows? I'm just telling you that legacy is major, and the way that you leverage your credit can truly unlock the door to buying potential that you never thought possible. So we had got some questions about lawsuits, so I definitely wanted to make sure that we handled that. Was there any other questions, Shenequwa?
Well, I mean, I don't think so. You know, but no, seriously, I think communication is the biggest key, especially like there's certain relationships that you want to make sure you take care of, like American Express, like a Capital One.
Yeah.
There are certain banks and lenders that you want to do everything that you can to resolve the issue, because down the road, those are big lenders that you can go back to and you know, use credit wise, whatever.
Yeah,
so
that's good.
oh,
Stay right there.
so,
what were you about to say?
we do have questions about secure and unsecure. A lot of people don't understand what a secure credit card is versus a unsecured credit card.
Okay, so secure credit card. So a secure credit card, that just means that you are securing that card with your money. So a great way to boost your score, like 100 points, like for those of you that are getting these PPP loans and SBA loans, take $10,000, go into a bank and get a secured line of credit or a secured credit card. That'll boost your score. Like when I tell you like crazy, it will. But even if you don't have that, let's just say you have $200, you'll get the credit builder card that we offer on our website. And so it spins like a credit card. You can use it to rent cars, you can use it to shop, you know, you use it for whatever, as long as you stay under $50 on that $200 secured credit card, because that is your 25%. Okay, I know you can't rent a car for that. I'm just telling you that you can use it as a real credit card. Now, unsecured credit cards, so like let's say your credit score is a 680, you call American Express, they say, hey, congratulations, Chris. We just approved you for a $10,000 American Express card. We're shipping it to you within 2 days. Okay, so basically what happened was your credit secured you more credit. So that's why credit is so important. Like your credit literally can secure you credit of 50,000, 100,000, 20,000, 7,000. And I'm telling you that because you want to make sure that in the building process, so like don't get discouraged if you have to secure your credit first. Like that's just part of the process. Before Shenequwa and I were able to just get unsecured credit, we had to go through the process. Like nobody just skips it unless your parents taught you about credit when you were a kid. And so did yours?
Right. No, okay. No, we didn't learn about it in school. We, you know, the play money, you know, we had play money, but we didn't understand how to, you know, balance your bank statements, how to save money. So we're telling you guys something that not what somebody told us, but we've actually went through, and we have the credit score that we desire, right. And we're able to do things with we're able to leverage our credit. And so that's the whole goal, is to help you leverage your credit. We're not here to clean your credit up, get you on the right track, and you go out and mess it all up and come back. We don't want to see you again. If you come back to us, it is to say, give this big testimony about what you've done with your credit, how we have helped you, educated you when it comes to credit, not for us to collect more money from you to redo your credit. That's not the goal.
Exactly. So yeah, and then guys too, like we would prefer video testimonials. There is a saying that facts tell but stories sell, and so we love to hear that we've been able to provide a great servitude to our clients. Most people don't get this theory, but servitude is currency. And so there's a lot of companies out there that claim to do credit repair. and they are really just taking your money. And so we really, really pride ourselves on having a mission statement that says that we want to help tens of thousands of individuals reclaim financial stability by fixing their credit and getting them to the 700 club or even above. Like, we'd be happy when, it goes above that. But our main goal is that 700 club and building such a strong credit profile that whenever you're going to get approved for something, that you get approved for it. So like, that's something that like we're so super excited about, and we don't want you to miss out on that. So please, like, when you see your credit score going up, don't let us, like, when I call you and I ask you for a testimonial, I'm calling to beg. So don't make me call and beg you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Just be like, you know what, let me just shoot this video today and, send it to Queens of Credit and let them know how much I appreciate them. And it doesn't always have to be results driven. It might just be a customer service video. You may appreciate the fact that you're spending your money and you're being updated on what you're spending your money on. And you appreciate that. You might just appreciate the group. Just like we just want to
whatever. We just want feedback.
Because it encourages us and it helps us to know what we need to change, what we need to do better. We know we're not perfect, but we do strive to work in excellence. And so, yes. Hey, London. Oh, Vanessa had a question. She said, what happens to your credit score after you pay off old debt collection? Is it worth paying off? Ooh, that's a good question. So, okay. So two things. If you pay off an account, like let's just say you have a car that you owe, maybe you owe $2,000 on it, and you pay it off, it will drop your score. I know it's like you're being penalized for paying it off, and it really sucks, but it becomes a closed account. So it drops your score 15%. And depending on where you are in your credit score, remember I told you guys, the higher your credit score, the greater the impact. Lower the credit score, lower the impact. So it could drop your score 40 points. It may drop your score 60 points. Now, will it go back up? Yes, absolutely. But if you're trying to get approved for something like right then and there, don't pay off anything. As far as paying off old accounts, because that was her question, but it kind of prompted me, Shenequwa, to talk about that, because like I had somebody that was like, I was doing the right thing. I was paying off my debt.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I agree. Okay, who should penalize you for paying them off? But it happens. But to answer Vanessa's question, and shout out to Vanessa over there with the Platinum Experience,
yes.
Real estate group. They are absolutely phenomenal. They show us a lot of love. And so to answer that question, if you pay off an old collection, like an old debt, it doesn't mean anything. Will it? Okay. Wait. What I'm saying is,
I'm like, what you about to say?
Right, that's bad. That's bad. Let me not say it like that. What I'm saying is, it doesn't negate the fact that at one point in time you owed it. So, like, let's say it's a collection from 2019. You owe a payday loan, right? You owed a payday loan. You paid it off. It was from 2019. It will show paid in full or settled in full, but it doesn't erase the collection. Like, it doesn't erase that it ever
those
occurred.
Comments that they put.
Right. And remember what we said about your credit report. It's literally like a resume to the lender. And so it's like, if you're going to pay it, just still tell us to delete it. Like, if you're just one of those people, you're like, I don't want to pay it. I want to pay it. Like, I was never like that. I was like, delete all this crap. I need a new life. President Trump got a new life. 11 bankruptcies. I need a new life. Okay. So I was never like that. However, we do have some clients that are like, well, I want to pay it, but can you delete it? And absolutely, that's the right thing to do. Just get it deleted. Whether you pay it or not, that's up to you. Like, I'm not telling you to do that, because even if you pay it, remember, it's still going to show collection, but under the note part, which the lender can see, it's going to say settled in full or paid in full, which is still bad, because it's like, why did it reach collections in the first place?
Right.
Paying it on time in the first place. Why would you get something that you couldn't pay for in the first place? Like, this, it's a, when you're applying for something, most people think it's like a computer. It's an actual person. Like it's an actual underwriter at the loan company, and they're looking at your report and they're going through it like, okay,
with a magnifying glass.
okay. And then they reach back out to the real estate agent and they say, well, why did they not pay this? Or what caused them to fall in a place of where they were unable to pay it? So you don't want to answer those questions. Just delete all that stuff and just start over. Just have a new life. Just, you know, clean.
Because by law, because a lot of people think, oh, if I pay this to the collection agency, that they will pay it off. By law, they don't have to. Because remember, they don't owe the original debt. They don't have the contract, the original contract. It's with the creditor. So if you had a JCPenney's card and it was sold and you pay that collection account, you should have just paid JCPenney's.
That's exactly right. That's exactly
right. If Ashanti owed me $1 million, I don't need her to give it to my sister. I need her to give it to me, right?
Why wouldn't you just let me have it? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So Rose had a good question. She said, so we're not supposed to pay the bill off completely. No. So what that means is, let's say that you have a credit card, it's $1,000, right? And maybe you owe 25% of that, $250. So maybe you owe $250. Just pay $225 and leave a $25 balance or $50 balance. But, and I'm gonna tell you why you don't want to pay it off. It's not the paying off that hurts you. That's not the part that hurts you. And I know a lot of people are like, well, why wouldn't I pay it off? The part that hurts you is you might forget to charge something within the next 60 days. And if you don't use that card based on who it is, like I've seen PayPal close a card that hasn't been used in 60 days. And it will drop your score 60 points. So the easiest way for you not to have to remember, like, did I charge something? Or, you know, leave a small balance, because if you don't leave a small balance, and depending, and who knows, like every credit card company has their own retarded rules about how long you can go without having a balance to keep that card open. Some cards may be 3 months, some might be 6 months, some might be 60 days. You don't want to chance it. And so the best way for you to do that is leave a very small balance, $10, $20, whatever that is. You can pay almost everything off, but leave like $5 to $10, because as long as there's an active balance, they're not going to close that account out. And so if they close that account out, then immediately you will see your score drop the very next month. And then once again, you'll be like, why are you penalizing me for paying stuff off? So that's why, Rose, yes, you want to leave a small balance. Vanessa said,
it's like playing a game.
Yes. Vanessa said, client is considering paying off Amex collection because they won't delete it, but I don't see the value in paying it off because it won't improve their score. Exactly. Tell them to save that money and invest in some credit repair. Unless, Vanessa, now if that Amex card is over 3,000, then they will come and they will come get their coins out their bank. Okay. However, they still should get it deleted off of their credit report, because you're right, it's still showing. And so for most of you that are getting ready to buy a house, typically anything over 2 years, that's not really having a major impact on your credit. So a lot of times when these lenders, they'll run your credit, and you might have an account that might be 7 to 10 years old. Just because it's on there doesn't mean you're going to get denied automatically. That doesn't mean that. A lot of times they're looking at what's impacting your credit score within the last 24 months. Now, you will have some lenders that want it taken off. And if that's the case, they'll tell you, hey, look, they have something called a simulator. It's so cool. They have this thing called a simulator, and they will put in what your scores are, what you owe, and what accounts are impacting your credit score. And so they're able to tell you, hey, if this gets deleted or paid, then this will put your credit score here. And then you kind of walk out with a plan. But sometimes, like when those accounts like are over 2 years, like there's no need for you to pay it. It might look bad to you because you're looking at it and you see all these collections, but honestly, like anything over 2 years, typically we do not touch it unless we're told to, because even that sometimes can reawaken a debt, and then we got to fight twice as hard to delete the a debt that we birthed, that was
Right.
rebirth. But it was because when we send out what we're deleting, if you don't tell us not to touch it, then we assume because you're paying us to clean your report off. So if you don't tell us not to touch it, then we're going to go ahead and just clean everything out. Just, you know, just be like the movie The Eraser. Just give you a whole brand new life. Just rebirth you. You know what I'm saying? Just a new life. So that will put you in a position. And then, yes, London, we need a video. He asked, do we so yeah, I think that, but yeah, that just so that you guys know, and that part is very, very, very important, that when you have anything that is within those 24 months, that has a major impact. So we don't like Credit Karma because they're not accurate, but I still like Credit Karma because it gives you hope. So it's like, if you look at it, it may be off, okay? Or depending on what day of the week it is, it might be a little accurate. But one thing that I like about Credit Karma is they even have a simulator that lets you know that this account is having a 60% bearing on your credit. And so even though the credit scores may not be accurate, that information is still accurate, which is one thing that I do like about Credit Karma. So it's okay to check Credit Karma, just don't rely solely on it for the information. Another one that we like is the FICO score, because it'll give you an update every 7 days. And if you're like me and Shenequwa, we stalk our scores. Like, we're like constantly, okay, you know, because I think that just knowing if anything happens in the world, whatever happens in the world, if your credit score is good, then you have a way better chance than somebody that does not have a good credit score. Because again, remember what I told you guys, they're looking at your credit score as a way to determine your character. That's your financial character, that's your personal character. They're looking at that as a way to determine whether or not we should be giving you money. And that way, it'll put you in a position, because if I can just clue you guys in on something. Right now is the best time for those of you who have been considering trading and stuff like that. Use your credit to get the capital to be able to do it, because eventually when everything is said and done and all of this stuff is going on, you just want to be in a financial position. And you can't say that Queens of Credit did not prepare you, because that's what we're doing. We're preparing you in the credit game. We're preparing you in the financial game. We're preparing you from the business side of understanding, like, right now, get your scores up, because these laws are changing. And they're changing because they're going to now increase the credit scores for you to buy a house, increase the credit scores for you to get a line of credit, increase the credit scores for you to be able to get approved for certain credit cards. So if you are positioning yourself now, you beat the paradigm shift. So that way, before these new laws come out, you're able to get everything that you need to be able to be in a better position. Because there was a time when across the nation, 580 credit score will put you in a brand new house. Across the nation, a 580 credit score will put you in a brand new house. It's not like that. Like, there's only maybe, like, you had 100% lenders. Now you're talking about 60% lenders left that are still honoring the 580, and you got to find them. So, and it's because of COVID, because they know that economically, the nation has suffered such a major financial deficit. And so in order for the banks not to enter into an increased foreclosure rate, in order for these credit card companies not to enter into a major financial deficit with the amount of money that's being lended, they are now putting the demand on the credit score, because they're saying, if I can look at your credit score and in the middle of a pandemic, you have been able to maintain a 700 credit score. And here's the good thing, guys. Guess what? When you get credit repair, there's no history. Like, we erased it. So that means the credit card company can't be like, oh, well, they just had 7 collections. They
wasn't there.
Like, right. They can't be like,
not there.
Right. They can't be like, oh, they made 20 late payments. Like, it doesn't exist. Like, that's what I'm trying to help you people understand. And that, like, I'm so excited about credit repair because, and I'm gonna tell you why, like my personal testimony. Don't share this on your page. I'm just kidding. I don't care if you do. I had a 440 credit score, and I had a bunch of student loan debt. I had a couple of repos. Don't judge me. Do not. Okay. And a couple of repos. I had probably about 20 or 30 late payments, and a bunch of medical collections. I know y'all have heard me tell this story about a $3,000 Kirby vacuum that I didn't pay for when I was like, I don't know, I was probably like 22, but it did everything. Y'all ever had a vacuum presentation? Like, it literally did everything. Like, it cleaned the bed and mopped the floor. It's like, I gotta have it. It was a $3,000 vacuum. They put that on my credit. So I had all this stuff, okay? And my score was a 440. And I remember saying, like, man, I would love to be able to have access. Like, I want that nice little box that they send with the American Express card. I want to be able to drive a car with 0% interest down. I want a low monthly payment. You know, I want to be able to go into the bank and get a line of credit if I lose my job. Like, you know, and I started realizing that as I was applying, and Shenequwa, here's the crazy part. My score was a 440. I had about 100 inquiries because in my mind, I'm like, my faith, okay? My faith. Faith is gonna open doors. It's the key. It's the key to the access. You know, it'll give it to me. And so I'm applying for stuff, and every time they would deny me, it was like I was like so unbothered to think about, like, you know, eventually this is gonna take me from a 440 to a 350 in a minute. And so I kept applying for stuff, and then eventually it started to wear on my spirit. Like, it started to depress me. I started to feel like anytime somebody was like, oh, well, I can get you approved for this new car, we gotta check your credit. It was like I would get like immediate anxiety because I knew, like, I can't get approved for it. And so I remember the first time that I went through credit repair. And again, I'm being transparent. Okay, this is pre Queens of Credit days. I went through credit repair a couple of times. I even went through the law people. Okay, so I had went through credit repair a couple of times until I started to understand the importance of credit. Like, once I got there, that was it. Like, I was like, oh, we'll never do this again. But as I was going through credit repair, it's something so liberating about you're not chasing the credit card companies down. You're not chasing the card people down. Like, literally, Credit Karma, and they so shady for doing this, but they start telling people your business. Okay, so when your score starts rising, because it's something you opt in for, they start sending out that you're in this credit score range, so you start getting pre-approved offers for credit cards, for loans, for mortgages. Like, you start getting all of this stuff. So it was like, it was something so different. Like, y'all ever felt like people tolerating you, like, oh, I'm just putting up with you, and then all of a sudden you get connected to the right people, and then you start to experience celebration and what that feels like? That's what I felt like. I felt like all this time with 440, they've been tolerating me, okay? And then when I got to that 700 and above club, I started realizing what celebration looked like. I was no longer chasing down approvals. Approvals were chasing me down. And so it's something completely different when you are in a position to where you're not having to look for those doors. Those doors literally are like, you're waking up to them, and the access is being put there. So that's why when I say credit repair is so powerful, like, literally it erases all the bad stuff. Like you may have made so many bad decisions when you were younger, when you were older, if you were married previously. I'm in now. Okay. If you were married previously and you co-signed for everything, I don't mind being transparent because I think we are family. Okay. So I don't mind being transparent, but
we are family. And somebody might be going through this, you know, you never know. So it is
so good. So I'll share my testimony. Like, in my first marriage, I co-signed for everything because it was like, you know, my credit was better. And so a lot of those repossessions weren't my fault. A lot of those collections, you know, weren't my fault. And so I needed to be liberated. You know what I'm saying? Like, not just like emotionally liberated, but that's a bad reminder when you looking at your credit and you get so mad, like, this shouldn't even just be my whole, like, why is this 100% my fault? Like, we both got this. Like, why should I be responsible for the entire debt? Why should this not be on the other person's credit too? And so when I look at credit repair, and I think like this is why Shenequwa and I are so passionate when we're helping people, it's because there's a liberation that comes about, no longer not just being held for your bad decisions, but bad decisions where you've co-signed for other people, whether that was an ex-spouse, whether that was an ex-boo, whether that was for your kids, for your grandkids. Like, it is so liberating to now being able to step into a place where it says, okay, clean slate, new book, new chapter, I'm starting over, and I don't have to worry about any of this old stuff haunting me, tormenting me, waking me up at night, making me feel like, I know
avoiding picking up the phone calls, avoiding answering certain calls because you don't know if it's a collection agency or, yeah.
Like, and I'm gonna tell y'all, like, this goes deep. When I was studying just like how debt affects people emotionally, there are like thousands and thousands of individuals that commit suicide a year because of student loan debt, young people, because of credit card debt, middle-aged people, because of just debt, period. And that can be, that's the baby boomer generation. And so it's because they don't understand that there's an answer to getting out of debt. And it is like credit restoration is like you would be surprised the type of liberation that happens when you have a person who has been so accustomed year after year, month after month, being told no, being denied, and then all of a sudden they go into a car dealership and the people run their credit and they're like, oh, we're just gonna let you take the car, no money down, and you sitting there like feeling like you a thief,
what?
Okay? Like you're a robber, because you had become so accustomed to being, in a chokehold with a 19-25% interest rate. So credit repair is truly, it's truly an answer to helping you get liberated, and not just financially. Like, it's going to help you emotionally. Like, you feel better about yourself. Like, once you hit that 700, you can go in.
Your confidence is boosted. You have a new confidence.
Come on, like, and that's what I'm saying. Like, before you go test drive a Rolls Royce, they're checking your credit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, before you go test drive a Bugatti, they're checking your credit, because they know it would be a waste of time if you come in there with a 400 credit score and you tell me I want to test drive. Like,
or even when you just want to go get, if it's a Lexus, if it's a Mercedes, you want to walk into whatever dealership, whatever bank with confidence, knowing that, oh, it's already a sealed deal. Now, I want to shift and talk about, before we close out, that I do believe Queens of Credit is preparing you for what's to come. So we're helping you to leverage your credit, and then we want to make sure that you're building relationship. Who are you building a relationship with? Whatever bank that you bank with, you need to be inside, not going through the drive-through to deposit. You need to go inside to the bank and start making a relationship with your teller, with the manager, because down the road, if you need a line of credit, you've already built that relationship with your bank. And I do advise getting a credit union. If it's Navy Federal, if it's Smart Financial, it's several credit unions out there that you can build relationship with. And when your credit score is excellent, you can walk in there and they'll help you do anything. They help you finance your house. They help you finance your furniture in your house. They help you finance your car. So relationship is the key. We're helping you prepare. Queens of Credit, we're helping you prepare by getting your credit restored, but you also need to build that relationship. Like Ashanti said, there is a shift that's taking place. We're telling you now, it's the shift that's taking place, because next year things are going to be a lot different. You're not going to be able to walk in and get a car or purchase a home with the average credit score. You're going to have excellence.
Right. Exactly. And like what Shenequwa was saying about the building relationships, remember I told y'all that it's not a machine that is saying you're denied. It's an actual person. So if you're going in and you are meeting with the teller, you're meeting with your banker, like they can literally go in and overturn a no. I've seen it done so many times. Like your credit may not be strong enough yet, but they can actually go into they'll go into the underwriter and be like, hey, look, I know normally that this is not what we would approve. However, she's been banking with us for so long. She's been, coming in here, making deposits. They will twist the rules. Like people don't there's a privilege to relationships, especially in the banking industry. Like I had a good friend of mine. He makes probably his deposits to the bank are probably maybe 100 to 200K a month, 300K a month sometimes. He walked into the bank just to make a deposit. And he typically always speaks to the same banker. Now, we're not saying you have to deposit that much, but I'm telling you this story so you understand the importance. He walked into the bank like a regular day to make a deposit, and they pulled him to the side and was like, hey, we want to give you $1 million line of credit. He didn't apply for it. He didn't request it. He didn't ask for it, nothing. But because he had relationship, they're like, we just want to give it to you. So what I'm telling you is you may only be depositing $300 a month in that bank, but then you built a relationship and they say, hey, with $10,000 line of credit, would that help you? And you're like, yeah, absolutely. Because where I'm at financially, I just need a little threshold to make sure that I don't drown until I get to a better place. So building a relationship with your bank, with your credit union, it's so important. So the way that you do that, because I know for some of you are probably like, well, how do I do that? So the way that you do that is when you're going in and you're making these deposits, try to make it a goal. Like when you figure out who serves you better, because typically it's 3 to 5 people in there. When you figure out who serves you better, go in there and be like, I'm waiting on Christina to take care of me. And so you and Christina build a relationship, and Christina could just, she may have been there for 10 years, but Christina could have a strong relationship with the underwriter. And when you need a line of credit to remodel your home as a down payment on whatever you're trying to get approved for, you can go in there and Christina will say, oh, you know what? I'll go to bat for you. I'll help you with that. So relationships are everything. Remember, servitude is currency. Relationships are currency too. And so when you understand that, you'll realize that the way that the Rockefellers and the Oprahs and the Bill Gates operate, before there was money, there was relationships. And so what your money cannot buy you, relationships will be the key to unlock a hidden door that nobody else knows is present. I hope that makes sense. Makes sense to you guys.
Yes. So we want to thank you guys. We will be back next week. I think we have.
She said, is it better to have a line of credit than applying for a payday loan through a third party financier? Speak on it, Shenequwa.
Yes, we do not advise anybody to go get a payday loan. Go to your bank, go to someone, again, relationship. Payday loans, they don't do any justice for you. The only time that they report is when you don't pay. So if you have a credit line through a bank, they're constantly reporting. So they're going to help boost your credit score. Just like Ashanti was talking about, if I think it was with the student loans, if you were to consolidate, not through a company, but do it yourself, you could go in and get a loan from your bank, pay that student loan or whatever those bills are off, and then that, while you're paying that monthly payment every month, that is helping boost your credit score.
Absolutely. And then the other thing about that is you can go in your bank and get a $30,000 line of credit, pay back $130 a month, or you can go get a payday loan for $2,000 and have to pay back $6,000 in less than 90 days.
Right. That interest rate, regardless of what your credit score is going to be high.
Yeah, the interest rate is going to be high. The payback is going to be high. It's almost like 290% of what you're
Mm-hmm.
paying back. And then you have to remember, if you don't pay it, it goes on your credit and not the amount that you borrowed. Okay, it's the amount of what you owe. So that's why I say, like, you can go, like, look at the benefit here. I go into the bank, I get a $30,000 line of credit. I may not even use it. I may only use a couple of thousand, but on that line of credit, I'm only paying like $120 a month to the bank. Or I go to the payday loan, I get a $2,000 payday loan, and according to their contract, I have to pay $6,000 in 90 days. Did you see, like, that's over 280% that you're paying back, when you could have just went to the bank with your lit credit score and
Mm-hmm.
got what you needed. So that was a very good question. Go ahead, Shenequwa.
And usually when you have relationship with a credit or what bank, they're going to do what's best. They're going to try to always help you out. Whether if you're going to a payday loan, they just see you as a number. They're
Right.
just trying to they're just like, okay, this is what it is, and you can either take it or leave it. Where if you go to a bank, they kind of try to work with you. You know, they are still trying to make money, but at the end of the day, they want to gain you as a client in another area.
And I'm glad you said that, because most banks have somebody that is a certified financial advisor that's
Mm-hmm.
there, and they want you to keep your money in their bank, because that's how they make their money. Because
Right.
you're told, banks use the money to create more money. And so the more money you have in there, the more money they can make. And so they will actually sit down with you, go over a plan. They even do budgeting. Like, they do budgeting, they do financial counseling. They show you how to make your money grow. So when you go into a bank, don't just think of them just as a bank. Think of them as a multi-service center. So if you've been struggling with budgeting, go in the bank and tell them that you need to speak to someone about budgeting. And I promise you, they have a certified financial advisor there in the bank. And what they'll do is they'll go through the history of your bank account. They'll see what you're spending your money on. They'll show you where you can save money. Like, it's so cool the way that most people just think that banks are one-dimensional, but they're not. They're multi-dimensional, and they really can help you. So, like, if you're struggling and you're living paycheck to paycheck, go into the bank, sit down with your banker, again, building that relationship, and you're going to explain to them kind of like what the challenge is. And then they're going to go over different ways that will put you in a better financial situation.
I think we can do even better, Ashanti. We're going to reach out to one of our associates but that's her specialty, is budgeting. And see if she can come on in the next couple of weeks to help you guys with budgeting, because that's financial freedom, when you can say, I have this amount coming in and this is where my money is going. A lot of times, let's just be real, we don't know where our money is going. And so that's for another topic, but we will definitely see if she's available in the next couple of weeks so we can get on here and talk about budgeting. That's going to help take your finances and this credit restoration to a whole nother level.
Vanessa just said bettermoneymanagement.com is an excellent resource from Bank of America to learn on demand about financial education. So bettermoneymanagement.com, and she put it down there in the comment. Vanessa, thank you.
Thank you, Vanessa.
Appreciate that.
And then mint.com is a budgeting tool that a lot of people use. You do have to add your cards that you use all the time to it. But we're going to get an expert on budgeting in here so we can better serve you in that area.
Absolutely. Anything else? I don't think we had any other questions.
No.
No?
Nope.
Awesome. Well, guys, thank you again for tuning in with us. We definitely enjoy every single time we're able to get in and empower you guys with the information that has taken us years and hundreds of thousands of dollars to learn. But I think that it's important that the more people that we can liberate, the more people we can help, the more people we can empower with that knowledge, that it'll put you in a better position. So we'll see you guys next week. Oh, and by the way, if you guys have specific things that you want us to target, go ahead and drop that on
yes.
live. So that way, when we come back on next week, we'll make sure that not only will we cover what we're going to cover anyway, we're also going to cover the things that are important to you. All right. God bless you guys.
See you next week.